Saturn retrograde July 13th until November 27th. And here's what it means for your sign. Saturn retrogrades on the 13th in the sign of Aries, where it will remain until September 1st. Now, in August, Mars will be in Libra and it will be in opposition to Saturn retrograde in Aries. We can expect tensions to arise, especially in relationships, in our day-to-day life. This is where we're going to feel a bit more frustrated. Then in September, Saturn retrogrades into Pisces, but we're in eclipse season. There's going to be eclipses in September in Pisces and Virgo. So it's a very fated September. It's a very karmic September. We are closing out cycles and we are stepping into a new way of moving forward within our lives. To save this video because this is quite an interesting transit. Aries, Saturn retrograde in your sign is pretty intense. This is where you reap the rewards for work you have been doing. At the same time, you're met with more delays and stress and tension as you're feeling frustrated with how certain areas within your life are working. This is happening in your sign. So this influences all areas of life, from your money, your career, your relationships, to your family, your home, and you can feel frustrated with the progress. This would be a point in time for you to reevaluate how you can approach these areas. Truth will be revealed about others and situations within your life. When your Saturn retrogrades into Pisces in September 1st, this is going to be a lot about you closing out cycles. This is endings, releasing, closure, solitude. You might even need to focus more on your health and well-being, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Hidden enemies can come to light. You could feel deeply emotional and deeply exhausted during this time. But it is a moment in time for you to let go of anything that's been weighing you down in order for you to move forward peacefully. Libra, Saturn retrograde in Aries is going to really show you the truth about relationships, whether they have the stability to take, into the future or not. This is also, if you've been putting any work into relationships, you will reap the rewards for work and efforts, personally and professionally. At the same time, if you've been suppressing any feelings or if you've been people pleasing, this is where you can see things very clearly about how much of work you've been putting and how little the other person has been putting. Like I said, Mars will fall during this time and truth will be revealed about your one-on-one relationships, both personally and professionally. Saturn retrograde into Pisces is going to influence your work, health, and routine. It's time for you to rethink about the way that you approach work. You could also be met with some delays within work. If you've been working too hard towards your work life, you could reap some rewards. But it will be a time for you to truly focus on how you move forward when it comes to work, health, and routine. Have you been pushing yourself too hard? Are you feeling burnt out and exhausted? I will tell you to take care of your health because when Saturn is retrograde in Pisces, this is going to be happening during eclipse season and you can feel pretty exhausted, burnt out, especially if you've been pushing too hard. Balance is key to success when it comes to your work life and restructuring how you take care of your day-to-day routine. Cancer. Saturn retrograde in Aries. If you've been working hard towards your career, you could reap the rewards. It's also a reality check about your career, your goals, your ambitions, your sense of purpose. So even if you're not working, this is your sense of purpose. It's how the world sees you. This is where you'll be reevaluating how you approach your work life, how you present yourself to the world. Like I said, you can get recognition for work you have been putting in. But if there are delays and challenges, you're asked to think about how you've been taking action, approaching your work, and rebuilding your confidence so you can move forward when it comes to your career, your goals, your ambitions. Now, Saturn will retrograde back into Pisces. This is where you're going to be reevaluating your belief systems, beliefs that are outdated, anything that you've been believing that's basically been keeping you stuck. This is where you'll be ridding yourself of old, outdated beliefs. This will also be a moment in time where you might have some serious conversations with others and ask yourself, do we share the similar beliefs? Like, what do I want for my life? Do you want that as well? Are we on the same path? Or do you want something different? This can be as simple as I want a relationship and maybe the other person wants to be free. Or maybe you want to be free because you'd also be seeking liberation at this point in time from anything that's been keeping you stuck. If you have been feeling stuck, this is where you are basically breaking free. You're also seeking out opportunities to grow within your life, to expand and grow. Higher education becomes something of a must. Travel. This is where you're also focusing on relocation. Do you want to move to a different city, a different town, to a different country? You're focusing on all these areas of life. And you basically, if you have moved to relocated to a different city, you're basically seeing how you can put things into place to stabilize your life. Capricorn, Saturn retrograde in Aries. If you've been working hard towards anything when it comes to your home, property, real estate, renting a home, or making moves within your home life, you are now seeking the stability and how you can basically see that growth, especially if you've been working hard, you'll achieve it. If not, this will be a point in time to ask yourself what you really need to do, what changes you need to make to restructure so you can acquire the security you want within your home life. Tensions can arise when it comes to family members, especially. This is where you need to put some healthy boundaries in place. You could be feeling deeply emotional. You are seeking more solitude and time to yourself, like to focus on what truly matters to you, what emotionally fulfills you. If you're feeling emotional, give yourself that moment to really feel your feelings, whether that's anger, frustration, or sadness. Feel it. This is a great time to also focus on like how can you nurture your emotional well-being. At the same time, Saturn will retrograde September 1st into Pisces. This is all about communication, negotiation, contracts, deals, your environment, the neighborhood that you're in, siblings, relatives. Again, you are also setting some boundaries if any relatives have been, pushing them. It's also a great time for you to really look at the environment that you're in, make any changes necessary when it comes to environment, things like moving to a different neighborhood. This is also where you're planning a short distance trip to take some time away. This also has to do with contracts and deals. If there's been delays, this is where you're seeking out new opportunities to network. If you have been working hard, you could reap a reward from a contract or deal. This is where you're deciding to learn something. You're enriching your mind. You'll also be having very serious conversations with people and letting them know where the line is. That's very important for you. This is also your mind. It's so important for you not to be too self-critical. Your mind can be feel like very heavy. The weight on your mind is very heavy during Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So things to relax your mind, meditation, nature walks, things to basically ground yourself because you can be very critical of yourself and your progress and how you've been moving forward. This is not the time to do that. This is just a restructuring of how you think, express, communicate, negotiate, and move forward with your life. Taurus. With Saturn retrograde in Aries, you're exhausted, you're tired, you're drained out. There's a lot of closure, ending of old cycles, things from way back, maybe even beliefs that you held to be true about yourself that's been keeping you stuck. This is a time for healing, so you will feel that you need the healing. You might need more solitude, you might need more space, you might need more downtime, you might need more time to self. You're closing out cycles. Saturn retrograde in Aries is literally closing out and ending situations within your life that basically don't build your confidence, don't grow you further. There'll also be a point in time where you can really get deeper into your spiritual practices, manifestation, solitude, meditation, but hidden enemies will come to light for you. Saturn retrograde in Pisces gives you the opportunity to reconnect with friends and connections. So you'll be able to connect with friends, especially if that friendship was someone that's stable, loyal, someone who's been there for you. Great time to connect to your community, online, in person, your friends, your circle. But also, if there's been any friends you've been keeping that don't have your back, this is where you see the reality about the certain groups that you associate with. Whether it's a work organization, whether it's a friend group, a hobby group, you're very clear about these groups. You'll walk away from groups that no longer feel aligned to your soul. You're stepping up into your power when it comes to your future wishes and dreams. And you'll see how you can really achieve that for yourself. This is in a vision of what you see in your life. Aquarius, when it comes to Saturn retrograde in Aries, you're rethinking how you communicate, express yourself when it comes to boundaries in communications with others. This is the area of communication. So think the neighbors, think your community, your friends, the people you express yourself to. Healthy boundaries is necessary. Mask will drop from those who basically are false. And if you have solid connections, you'll definitely see that they got your back. If you've been working on a contract or a deal, you reap the rewards. If not, there can be delays. You need to rethink your approach to your networks. Great time to learn something, to shift your mindset about how you think about things. Saturn retrograde in Pisces is going to be about your money and income. You could be met with delays when it comes to earning money, your skills and talents. You have to work on your sense of self-worth. However, if you've been working very hard when it comes to boosting your income based on your skills and talents, you can reap the rewards. This will be a reality check when it comes to your finances and earnings and income. Pisces, Saturn retrograde in Aries is influencing your money. This is you rethinking your finances and income, your skills and talents. Now, if you've been working hard to boost your income, you do reap the rewards. At the same time, you could be met with more delays. And this means that it's time for you to rethink the way that you value yourself, see your sense of self-worth. This is a restructuring. It's slow, disciplined, hard work, and patience and resilience when it comes to your income, the money in your pockets based on your skills and talents. So this is a moment to rethink how you move forward when it comes to earning potential. Doesn't mean you can't reap the rewards though for work you have been putting in. But if delays are occurring when it comes to income restrictions, ask yourself, how can you earn more and what can you do to work towards that? Saturn retrograde in Pisces, eclipse season in Pisces, full moon lunar eclipse, September 7th. Trust that this is going to feel pretty intense. You are ridding yourself of anything that basically has been holding you back. This is now Saturn back in your sign, and you are rethinking your connections, your relationships, your career, your sense of self. You could feel like the weight of the world is on you because Saturn is now back in Pisces. It's retrograde, and you're rethinking the structures of your life. You will be letting go of old connections. You will be embracing new connections personally and professionally. This is a highly transformative time for you in the month of September. Do take it easy, watch your health, make sure that you're resting, eating, sleeping, and taking care of you mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Virgo, Saturn retrograde in Aries. This made it very clear about your most intimate relationships. The relationships that hold stability intimately can grow and prosper. Relationships that lack that stability come to an end. You see the reality within your relationship. Secrets are no longer secrets. You know them. Truth is revealed. This is also a moment in time to reevaluate your finances. Yes, business investments, business contracts. This is where you look at your money, your debts, your loans, and you rethink the way that you are spending money. If you've been working on a project to boost income, through business partnerships, negotiations, you can reap the rewards, or thinking of ways to make passive income and you've been working towards that, you can reap the rewards. If not, this can be a financially challenging time where you're rethinking how you spend money and your budget. Saturn retrograde in Pisces, September 1st, eclipse season. There's going to be a solar eclipse on the 21st of September in your sign. Full moon lunar eclipse, 7th of September in Pisces. Relationship wake up call. This is going to really show you about your relationships, your one-on-one partnerships, both personally and professionally. If there's been a relationship that lacks that stability, even if it's a friend, you are walking away. You are done. You are done with those relationships that don't have the loyalty, the stability, the growth, the future vision of stability for the future. You're completely cutting them out and you're stepping up into a whole new version of yourself. Do not be afraid of this transit. I will suggest take care of your health mentally, emotionally, and physically, especially in September, due to Saturn retrograding in Pisces and the eclipses that are happening in Virgo and Pisces. And Virgo rules over health and well-being, mentally, emotionally, and physically, including work life. You can also make some work changes or decide to take a whole new direction when it comes to your work life. This will be you progressing, but it's going to come with change, and the change that you need not be afraid to make. Sagittarius. This is intense. Saturn retrograde in Aries. If that romance is not giving you what you need, this is where you're cutting loose, you're walking away, you are saying goodbye, you are done. If that relationship has what it takes to go like years to come, you're growing. This is where the relationship can go to next level. This is a reality check about your romantic interest. Fun and pleasure is vitally important for you. You could be having more fun, more pleasure in your life. If you haven't been having fun and pleasure, you're asking yourself, how can you really approach seriously to have more fun and pleasure? When it comes to children, tensions can arise either with children or about children. This is where you need to restructure the way that you approach your children, or maybe restructuring of the way that you negotiate, especially with the spouse when it comes to children. If you're an entrepreneur or have creative pursuits, a side hustle that you want to see become a success, this is where you can reap the rewards with Saturn retrograde in Aries. If you've been putting in the work, if you met with delays and challenges, because Saturn retrograde can bring that. This is where you ask to rethink the way that you approach creativity, especially if you're an entrepreneur or working on a side hustle. Saturn retrograde in Pisces, home, family. This can feel deeply emotional for you. In September, it is eclipse season. You're a mutable sign, and the eclipses are happening in Virgo and Pisces. There can be a career opportunity that comes for you in the month of September. At the same time, this is also going to show where you need to approach your career in a different way and let go, because you are seeking freedom within your career. Now, you will be feeling deeply emotional. You'll be thinking about your home life and what changes you need to make to build stability. There can also be changes within the home, especially domestic living matters that are no longer working. You might decide to move home, relocate, move to a different location that gives you the stability that you need. This is all about your stability emotionally and within your home and family. You might even set some healthy boundaries when it comes to family members. This is also about your emotional journey and healing. So it's great for you to focus on what you need emotionally for you to feel fulfilled. This can be also a great time for counseling or seeking help when it comes to your emotional well-being, because it is under stress and pressure. Gemini, Saturn retrograde in Aries, rethinking and restructuring of your social connections, the people that you choose to associate with, their choice, the groups, the friend group, the work group, the hobby group, the family group. This is where you're going to be laying down some boundaries on some connections that have been taking advantage of your kindness, and you're not afraid to do so. If you've been working hard or you've been finding very committed relationships when it comes to the social communities that you're involved in, This is where you see yourself flourishing, and this is where you can see real, true support from your community. This can also be career change because it is about the groups that you choose to associate with. So if you're at a workplace and it doesn't feel like the environment for you because you are choosing to associate via choice, you decide that, hey, I'm making the choice to find something different from it. This is also about your future wishes and dreams, and you'll be really focusing on how you can make that a reality for you. If you're involved in a romantic interest and there's been some tensions, you're asking yourself, do we share the same ideals for our future wishes and dreams during August, particularly? Other than that, this is all about your social connections. You might even not be afraid to spend some time by yourself and rediscover who your tribe is and connect to a total new different group of people. There can be some delays and challenges in communications when it comes to your friends. Understand that Saturn retrograde and Saturn can be restrictive. Now, Saturn retrograde in Pisces in September during eclipse season, and there's going to be a full moon eclipse on the 7th of September. This is going to ask you to rethink your career, your goals, and reputation. You could reap the rewards for hard work you've been putting in. However, if you met with delays and challenges, you're asked to rethink the way that you move forward when it comes to your career. It's time for you to let go of outdated ways of thinking when it comes to your career, success, reputation, recognition. And even if you're not working, this is also about your sense of purpose and what gives you meaning in life. So you are choosing a way in what gives me meaning, what fulfills my purpose, and how can I make changes to my career so I feel fulfilled. Scorpio, Saturn retrograde in Aries asks you to rethink your work, health, and routine. You do reap the rewards for hard work you've been putting towards your work. Otherwise, if you met with delays, it's time for you to rethink your approach and how you take action when it comes to your work life. Saturn retrograde in Pisces. If a romance is fizzling out, you cut it loose. There's also a time where stable romantic connections can go into the future, and you really find yourself stable within your romantic connections. This is really a deep and profound time for you to find your creativity and what fulfills your soul. Creative passions, children. You could also reconnect with your children in a different way if you have kids. There's also about your creativity, your passion, and what gives you fun. You might even restructure the way that you have fun and your hobbies and interests. There's also a great time for you exploring what makes you happy. Leo, Saturn retrograde in Aries asks you to rethink your belief systems because what we believe we achieve. If you've been believing in yourself, you'll achieve what you require. If not, you're asked to restructure the way that you believe. This is great for higher education, rethinking the way that you approach education, travel, and also your sense of philosophy and expansion and growth. Saturn retrograde in Pisces, this is really like heavy for you. You're feeling emotionally heavy. You're really looking at your most intimate relationships. You're cutting loose of relationships that are keeping secrets, power plays, power dynamics. You're stepping into your most authentic self. This is emotional empowerment. It's also you really looking at your financial matters. You can reap the rewards financially for work you put in. If you met with challenges and delays when it comes to business investments, passive income, this is you rethinking your approach when it comes to your debt and how you spend and make money.